Morning everyone, welcome to the Book of Aironn. I'm really excited because today we are going to start my first mini-series within the series. So today we are going to start talking about the energy kids. Woo! So grab something comfortable and some water, some coffee, something to tide you over, and we will start soon. Good morning. Alrighty, welcome everyone to the Book of Aironn. It has been, Lord have mercy, I do not even know how long. July 31st, alright, and today is October 2nd. So, welcome to the end of Mercury retrograde, which we went through during this period, and also we're in 5 of the retrogrades now. Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus. All of those. So, yeah, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. A lot. But we're going to be good. We are on our way. And a lot has happened since July 31st. Most important thing is that my birth mom, Carol, she passed away from stage 4 cancer and advanced dementia, and it was a very surreal experience at times. I went through a huge transformation, evolution, and have now stepped into like full, what I would call mystic hood, and it's all been from this last year of just spiritual healing, physical healing, emotional healing, generational trauma cleansing, like being on here. I've realized that this series and this podcast is actually like a transition through the last couple of years, and it's kind of like a vocal journey. I'm seeing it as 1:22 on the clock. So yeah, it's pretty interesting where things have evolved to, which is why I wanted to start this new mini-series called The Energy Kids, which is a phrase and title that has been coined by a Denise Dryden, who is, oh my gosh, psychotherapist, like social work. She does galactic astrology work. She does tarot, I believe. I'm still learning about her. If you would love to go to her website, it's denisedryden.com. Or you can find her on YouTube, Denise Dryden. And I love her energy. She's doing so much work on what she's coined as the Energy Kids, which I'm going to go into today. I'm going to talk about. I am going to introduce the Energy Kids. I don't know if I've done some of this on a previous episode, so for some of y'all it might be a review. Some of y'all it's new, so welcome. But it is a part of the lightworkers. We are volunteer souls who have come to Earth to help raise the frequency and help humanity shift into the 5-dimensional frequency that we are shifting into as an Earth. So as a planet. It's very exciting. It's like a really energetic and energetically freeing time, actually, where a lot of people are awakening, and they're coming into the realization of being an infinite soul, having lived many incarnations, and it is also part of this age of Aquarius shift. I think it's like every 2,650 years we have like an energetic shift into a different age. And so it's a long time. So we have been not trapped, but just like in this age of Pisces for a long time. This is why like the Mayan calendar ended in 2012. That is when we started to shift into the actual pre-shift, or start to merge into the age of Aquarius. So I know you've heard a lot of this, I'm sure, little bits of it, but this is just all of it kind of pieced together from what I've been able to like learn, and from hearing from like other people who have researched, like Denise Dryden, like Julia Balaz, who's just phenomenal. I know we're not supposed to be attached to anything, but I'm a little attached to her because she just feels like one of the most infinite and deep and just very analytical, but at the same time very spiritual, and just she has this soul of just like witnessing, I just feel such a witnessing when I see her videos or watch her speak. And even gotten to chat with her in a live chat on YouTube. But she is like in the forefront and kind of the leader of galactic astrology, which is where she's gathered research for 2 decades, at least 20 years, and done work and a lot of therapy and hypnotherapy, just all kinds of stuff. So I think it's called something else, but I'm learning about it, and it's definitely all been a part of my awakening and into my realization of this being like real, and this idea of like those of us out there who got so lost in this idea of wanting to help but not knowing how we're supposed to help, or what our own wisdom or experience is meant to do to guide ourselves. But then by living in that authentic self, other people will resonate and see that and kind of, be interested or just kind of awaken. So part of this like shift into the 5D frequency is like letting go of this survival, or this like where you're here and alive on Earth, you're meant to just work, pay bills, and just try to keep a roof over your head, and try to like mandate and stay within a structure of society of what you're supposed to do by a certain age, or with a certain person, or in a certain living situation. And we're having this shift from what the expectations were in these systems that were not working, and changing them, and adapting or coming up with newer, better, easier ways. So this has all been in service to others and to helping someone, and like making someone's life easier is being a healer. I think for myself and for like so many people that I've talked to who are healers or on the healing path or becoming healers, and like learning more and healing themselves, and just realizing all of this power that comes from healing, and how that will all culminate together to a higher frequency as there's more and more and more. So we are shifting, like it's happening. There's no like possibility of it not happening. And that's why a lot of people are eating better. That's why a lot of people are just open to being more empathic to other people, or listening to their intuition or their heart, right? And like we want to listen to our gut in a sense, for the wisdom that comes from that solar plexus area and that solar plexus chakra. It's like learning all of, realizing and understanding and researching and educating on the chakra systems, or I don't know, there's that moment in your awakening where like you really have to hermit and you have to go within and kind of put down everything that you've picked up at that point and just put up every boundary you can and the things that you don't have to deal with, or situations that you've outgrown, or people you've outgrown, mentalities that you've outgrown, and then you're able to just like put everything down and then like let it all kind of piece together and make sense, and then just like pick it up, right? And you're in a much better, more healthy, more aligned life. And it does take a lifestyle change. The hardest part about it is like not just learning it and like making sense, but then like actively practicing it. Like actively practicing it. So that is something that takes time. Everyone's awakening journey and healing. Healing is your whole life. Like you're always going to come up in situations where you got to heal. It's going to happen, and it's part of the experience that we signed up for here. So believe me when I say this is one of the phrases that comes from Dolores Cannon, who who started a lot of these discussions years ago, decades ago. I think in the 70s. 80s for sure, excuse me. But all of these souls, masters, we'll say, that I've named, that are having these discussions and have websites and YouTubes, they are very much coming from Dolores Cannon as well. So, but Dolores Cannon was, she said we are in an earth school, and an earth is an experience that we go through for various reasons, whether to clear karma, just to have the experience of being human. But when you come down, it's like grade school. It's like you got to pass to get to the next level, So you go through until you get to the 12 grades, we'll say, right? It's just for reference. And, then you graduate. So there's no like, I'm just not going to come back. Because we're always creating karma and we're always clearing karma. But you do get to a point, I truly believe, where you're not taking as long to remember what you remembered from the last grade, right? It's like you don't have to do that like summer review as long to get done what you need in the next grade to graduate. And then you really do get to a point where like you graduate, like you're done. Do you want to go on to like this university where we have these like professors who now direct everyone else below and kind of send the guidance and, are the kind of educators up here, but are still learning and still, a part of this earth school? Become an ascended master, right? And do that. Or do you go and become part of the next star or the next planet, or, and then you're good. So to me, that's like, if we can get people through Earth School quicker because they're not getting tripped up on all of our stuff or our projections on them and our like baggage, we'll say, our karma, then we're really just like holding people up for no good reason, right? We're holding ourselves up, and it's just, that's not, to me, a more beneficial or more helpful progression through Earth School. And I do feel like we're losing way too many people. You know, they're getting held back a grade, held back a grade, held back a grade. Like, we have to take ownership. And part of this frequency shift is like energy kids, right? It's like, again, back to the energy kids. I don't want to forget Julia Balaz, galacticastrochart.com. You can go there, put in your birth chart information, and you can get a free report and look to see what other incarnations that your soul has been on or lived in, or where you have karma from. There's all different ways based on the aspects to tell you what it is. And believe me, y'all, there is a program where they will certify you, and you can go and give these astrology readings with other people and help them, teach them and tell them about where their incarnations are, and really like teach them. Like, God, I'm so excited about that. Y'all know I love to teach. Like, I'm just a trainer at heart. It's all part of my energy kid journey, my soul journey. So, energy kids are currently in 4 groups. So we have 4 different nations of energy kids. And I won't talk about the 3 that I'm not particularly the most or like that I resonate with. I resonate with a little bit of all of them, but I think that's just because like I'm an infinite soul, and I already, from my own chart and from my galactic chart, know that I have some very strong ties and very strong origins. And at this point, I am just like from everywhere. Like, I'm aware. I know, and I have remembered past lives, past karmas. I'm very aware now because of my openness to spirit, my connection to spirit my whole life, that I've been able to like heal past karmas in this lifetime now. Like, I've healed what I can heal at this point of my own, and from doing it to other people. But, you know, that's a lifelong thing as well. Like, just not continue to create any karma, and just really like follow through and lead with like kindness and love and light. So yes, infinite. But I very strongly feel and know without a doubt that I'm a crystal kid, or crystal child, or I like crystal kid. I like energy kids. Like, makes it less juvenile, I guess, or less like you're it while you're a child, and then you grow out of it or something. Which there is a period where if you're blocked off from it, you will like not have access to it in a sense. You have to go through a lot. For me, you have to go through a lot because of the structure and the frequency the world that I was living in for years. So it was just like, took a lot of like ritual and healing and like deep connection and like elemental work and all kinds of body movement work. Like, believe me when I tell you, it has been a very long and very in-depth practice and cleansing. But here we are. You know, like, here we are. I've evolved on a spiritual level. Have an amazing job that I love, that I'm passionate about, that I always wanted to do. Now I'm doing it. Marriage is amazing. Being trans and transitioning is amazing. Live in a safe, secure environment. Have family that loves me. Like, I'm just like ready, you know? Like, we've already been thriving for like a week or two now. Like, full on thriving. So, for sure, it's worth doing this work and listening to what I have to say and just like finding your sense of what that journey looks like and making the solid promise like I want to start. I'm going to do this. Like, it's time. Because once you verbalize that, once you put that intention truly into it, then it's like you get on this roller coaster ride and you're buckled in and you're locked in and you're not getting off that ride that you put yourself on until the ride's over. You know, it's not going to break down. Nothing's going to happen. You're going to get off the ride safe. But at the end, it's going to be locked in. And the least resistance that you put into it, the better, because you're going to get off the ride faster. Like, you really are. And it takes a lot of, like, making things happen. It takes a lot of, like, surrendering to the things you can't, releasing. And then just, like, really following that inner compass, that heart that is, like, the guidance system. And, you know, it's very probable, not even just possible at this point, that if you make a wish from your heart, like a dream is a wish your heart makes. This is very real, y'all. Some Disney shit, but it's very, very fucking real. And it will not only come true, for sure, and probably in a literal sense. And it'll shock you if you're like, I didn't know it was going to be so literal. And then it is that literal. Or in just such a way that it's just like the best for you. And it creates success and abundance for you, you know. And so a lot of that comes with the idea of why we would need people to volunteer, souls to volunteer to come down. And, you know, for a lot of us who have this like too much energy or this like too high vibe that irritates people, it's because we did exist in another lifetime in a higher dimension. And with each higher dimension, it's a higher frequency, which is a more intense frequency. So when you live in a higher dimension, like we live in the third dimension, but are accessing things to a fourth dimensional level through the internet and through this like outward, like it's not just you that exists, it's like other things exist outside of yourself and exist in their own. But there's like, you know, the internet is like a huge example of it. It's like, that's all fourth dimension, pretty much. And then you have fifth dimension, which is what we're moving into as an earth. And so in the fifth dimension, it's like connection to like spirit, right? Fifth dimension is like direct connection to spirit. And so when you're in a fifth dimensional, that's when you're always connected to this idea of like spirit or your angels, your guides, God, the universe, your higher self, which if you don't believe in a lot of the things I mentioned, your higher self is then what you are tuned into, and that's your very best version of yourself without having to try. Like, you just do. You exist. Has that. There is no like past anymore. There's no more past, future. Like, there's just right now, in the now. Like present moment, always, all the time. I know this for a fact because there have been times in my transition. I call it transition too because it's like I have been transitioning souls, you know. It's like from the soul I was kind of stuck in that third dimensional mindset, and now waking up and into this like crystal kid. We're gonna stick with crystal kid. There's so many other things I am, but it's like, but this is energy kid. So like my main identity, we'll say at this point, Which is like hilarious because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, like identity is like hilarious too, but I'm trying to make it general for everybody for where they're at. But just understand that, like, y'all, we're all at a fourth dimension. Like, we're multi-dimensional beings, straight up. We exist in the third. We think and process mental in the fourth. And then you get to the point where when you're existing in the fourth dimension all the time, you progress into the fifth dimension. So you start having more experience with like intuition. You start developing like a lot of hearing, messages, like hearing other people and your thoughts for some reason, or going into these like conversation bubbles in your mind where you have it with like the other person, and it always goes really well in your head, but then in real life it doesn't, because you're literally like having an intuition or a conversation with their higher self, right? And trying to do it from your higher self so that you can work things out. So it's like your higher selves are having it, you're tapping into that. Like, like you've been having these, like, okay, it's very possible, it's probable, this is what's happening. So, because it's what was happening for me. And I can't be the only one. Like, there's 8 billion people on the planet. So, real tea, right? This is a crystal kid. Like, this is literally how crystal kids are meant to, like, deliver. I guess, like, if you have a lot of the combination of incarnations that I have and connections that I have, also being on a higher dimensional frequency most of the time means that I contact and am able to be in contact with things from those dimensions. So, like, when you're talking about, like, 8th, 10th, through 10th dimensional, 11th dimensional, you're talking like angelic realms, elemental realms, like higher realms, like definitely all of the ET races or galactic races. I like galactic races or nations, galactic nations. So, see, language, very important. But crystal kids are definitely like, we are vibing high as far as being in tune with the higher frequencies. And the way that I always kind of like explain to people, and that I feel like people understand the easiest across the board, is like, why, right? So why did people volunteer to come here and raise frequency? Like, why do they care? That's the point. That's why we're here. That mentality. Because, like, we do care, and we want there to be peace. And we want, like, in the fifth dimension, it's like love and light, and it's all this true connection to that. And that's more of the emotional state of a lot of it, and you're really tapped into that energy and you live in that frequency. So that's just a beautiful idea to be like, as an earth and as a civilization, we could be in this, right? And live in this daily, all the time, throughout your lives, until you ascend, finish your ascension, and go on and head to wherever you're going to head. But if you can get through a lot of that processing of your karma and getting rid of it, and then like learning about like not projecting all of the time, or deflecting, or having an issue with an uncomfortable moment, because in those growth is where you see the most change and the most transformation. And like, you don't want to get caught up in this wheel of fortune, right? Wheel of karmic cycles where you're doing transformation after transformation after transformation, because then that's just kind of like getting caught up in something too, right? So it's like, you transform when it's appropriate, you transform for you when it's, when you go through those, and then you do get to a point where like you just don't have to transform anymore in this incarnation or in this school, right? And then you're able to graduate and you go on to do whatever you want to do, or go back to your dimension, like dimensional life, go back to source, like head, back to the oneness of us being everything and everywhere all the time. So, yes, it's very beautiful dream, and it is a reality. It's a lot of people's realities, and we definitely are fortunate, I think, to be able to have platforms and like places to talk about this where it can be kind of like safe in the situation. It's like a voice and have some anonymity, but also like I'm out there, and if you want to find me on YouTube at Ozerite Tales. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos and just trying to kind of like bring all of these different platforms that I do, different things like TikTok and Instagram. I am going to leave Facebook. It's not my biz, and I think it's time for me to get off there. It has been for a while, but this is also living as a crystal child. You start like weeding out these things that you don't need, that aren't serving your body, that aren't taking care of like this like vessel, alright, that you're carrying your soul in, and then it has the ability to like transmute energy and like change and shift, and not just physically just do things, but like actually as a receptor and bring in frequencies and codes, and then like embody those. So there will not be any of this like I'm pretty sure like I really truly exist at like at least a 7th or 8th level dimension at all times, but I'm able to hit my like 10s where I just like send out jolts of energy and like frequency, and just like people are like, damn, what the fuck. But I'm able to definitely receive pretty intense amount of connection from people and places and things, because it has been a struggle to like learn how to discern between the different energies, and how to like learn how to hold like the space inside of myself. And at this point, like, it's turned into like almost like a storage unit like a lot of filing cabinets, and I just like file away these energies, and are able to kind of like put them into their like groups and like categorize them, so I can hold space for what I need and like store away some stuff. So it's very interesting. I guess like on a collective consciousness, like this whole cloud system, or like this data cloud system that we have, and everything that's set up is like a good reference for y'all. But this is something you definitely want to learn, because when you're in that 5th dimension with spirit, then it's like you kind of start to move into the 6th dimension, which is like a lot of the psychic and seeing through and abilities. And so like I know I'm for sure over that, because I do what I do, and a lot of just, it's very real. Did have the opportunity to, why I wanted to start bringing up this Energy Kids series, and like I don't really have like a plan on to structure it at this point. Like I'm just gonna, this is like an intro. This is like about who I am and what I'm, which is my Zhuzh, and which is my nation, that I'm here to, it's part of my mission. So, and then we'll go into the actual, like, I'm going to explain them, because I want to make sure I get it right too. I don't want to tell you no nonsense. Or at least, be respectful to the research that everything that's gone into it to discovering it and getting it out there to the public. But a lot of it is resonation, and it really is like what feels right to you, but it does seem to resonate that on a collective consciousness, a lot of this will resonate. So, I had the fortunate pleasure of going to do public tarot card readings in a market yesterday, and I did 4 readings, and each one was like really incredibly clear. I was so connected to like channeling even. It felt like an experience, like, y'all. And each one ended very positively, and they were just very like guided, and I felt like I have been waiting 20 years to like get out in public and do this, because I wanted to do it like justice, right? And I really wanted to like make sure it was an awakening for them as well. Even like I needed it to be like an experience, a one of a kind, unforgettable experience, which is what I've actually put on my resume for years and my mission statement and all my customer service work. So yeah, I felt such purpose, passion, and persistence, and I had a couple of like bumps in the middle, at the beginning at least, where it was like could have let it take me down, let my energy get thrown, but I was just like committed to the mission, right? And that was beautiful. So yes, it's really inspired me. I'm faux sure a crystal kid. There's a couple in my life, and they're coming out, and it's very like that, and I am really excited to start this like soul tribe connect. Like I love it. I have for a while been able to identify just the energy kid signature, and now from learning more and like as more research comes up, and because of Denise Dryden, like her writing these series, so she has one out already called The Indigo Assignment, and that is about the first nation and kind of the first wave of energy kids that came through, like the sprinkled through time, but like really they seeded in like the 70s, and mass seeded, and the frequency had been brought up enough at that point from the call to light workers, and just a lot of scout souls, like people came through, and souls came through, and they got it to where indigos could like plant and could like be here and could like be birthed and to start growing up. And so the indigos led to us, the crystals lead to the rainbows, and the rainbows have led to the diamond children. So diamonds is like the frequency that we're at now, and a lot of diamond souls are coming through. We still have we don't have any rainbows coming through. Rainbows don't come through anymore. I'm excited to get to the rainbows, but they are select few, right? Select few. So the crystals and the indigos are coming through. But yeah, there was definitely like late 70s, 77 from Nancy Tappy. Noticed that indigo auras were being born from all the children, most of the children. So started all this research into what's now I like to adapt as energy kids. So met some, and I'm really excited to get to just talk about it on the series. So yeah, y'all, I'm going to cut there today, but I will come back in soon and recap some of this, but really go into like the first wave, and then go into crystals, and then I'll go into a little bit of rainbow and diamond, but really indigos and crystals. And then I'm just gonna start this series as like what crystal kids say. Crystal kid talk, like we will find something, I don't know, but hope y'all have a good everything. Thank y'all, And remember, you are not alone, and we will get this together. Alright. Thanks. Bye.